Alright, what is going on? Welcome back, everybody, to the Rhody Wrestling Recap Podcast, episode, 13, if I even want to call this an episode. We're not going to be talking too much, because you guys obviously aren't going to want to watch an hour and a half of just me sitting here rambling on and on. Co-host Max is actually away in Italy right now, so, kind of just making do with what I can and still trying to get a video up this week. So yeah, gonna kind of just talk about the big things that went down in WWE this week, and that's pretty much just gonna be the episode. So let's kind of just get right into it. Let's start with what everyone is really looking at as the biggest thing, is the divide of the Bloodline. I haven't really seen a lot of people calling it the fall of the Bloodline, but a lot of people saying that we're getting two bloodlines, or we're getting this bloodline versus bloodline type thing building all this year, all the way up to War Games, even maybe into WrestleMania 41, wherever they decide to hold that. Yeah, so Friday Night SmackDown, the bloodline, well, I don't know why I keep doing this. The bloodline walks up to what they assume is their locker room. And then Cody Rhodes' emblem, logo, whatever you want to call it, is on the door. It is a champion's locker room, as they seem to call it. So Solo looks at Paul and says, hey, winning and losing matters. Losing has consequences. And that kind of should have been a hint towards everybody of what could have been possibly going down that we saw go down later on in the show, which let's now talk about that. So some point later on in the show, Solo comes out with Jimmy and Paul Heyman. Obviously, it wasn't just them, but we'll get into that. So they come out. Paul Heyman does a lot of talking, kind of blaming Roman Reigns for his loss at WrestleMania 40, which, I guess in a way it was. The person who loses, it is their fault, I guess. But not really, throwing excuses out there. And I don't know if it's something Solo didn't like. He turns and looks at Paul and is right here at Paul's face. And he's like, losing has consequences. Then pushes Paul out of the way, goes to his brother, Jimmy. He gives him a hug. He's like, you're my brother, I love you. And that is when Jimmy is attacked from behind by the debuting Tama Tonga, who is probably forming this new version of the Bloodline. But I guess we'll kind of see what goes down, because right now it is Solo and Toma, and not sure where the Rock stands, where Roman stands, where Jimmy stands, where Jay stands if he comes back into the Bloodline, or if he regroups with Jimmy and Roman or whatever. I guess we'll see this really great storyline build up all the way to War Games, all the way to WrestleMania even perhaps, and see what happens with that. We also get Bayley announcing that, she comes out to thank everyone for, being behind her while winning her world title, but then is announcing that, and the way she's kind of talking does make it sound like she's just saying it as an open challenge, and that's when Tiffany Stratton comes out, who is much deserving of a title chance, in my opinion. She's been really, really good ever since she's come up, and is probably going to be in the world title picture by the end of the year, but I guess we'll see what happens. That is when, she's like, yeah, I'll accept your open challenge, and Bayley's like, no, this wasn't an open challenge, you didn't let me finish, I'm offering a title shot to someone that's had my back, that's been there for me, and she offers it to Naomi, so then Naomi comes out, leading to a match with Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton that Naomi ended up winning, but yeah. So Naomi will be getting a title shot against Bayley. It'll be Bayley's first women's world title defense. Not world title, women's WWE title defense. Sorry. So that happened. What else happened? We got more announcements about the WWE draft coming up at the end of the month. And I want to say that's it for SmackDown. Going into Raw, unfortunately, the world title reign of Rhea Ripley has come to an end, as the unfortunate timing of an injury has happened and she had to relinquish. Not sure why someone like Seth didn't have to when he was dealing with his knee injury, but I don't know. I don't want to dive into that. But anyway, unfortunately has to relinquish. I think I saw she could be out anywhere from a minimum of 3 months, maybe longer, from the live attack of the prior week. But yeah, so unfortunately she had to relinquish, but they did announce that there will be a new women's title holder literally next week, so that could be very interesting. Sheamus returned on Raw this week, looking a little beefy, faced Ivar. They put on one hell of a match, in my opinion. Was really, really good. And Sheamus obviously won in his return. And it was kind of funny. After his win, he had ended up going down to the commentary booth and celebrating with the guys. So kind of just a feel-good moment for him to see him back. Can't wait to see what he does if they put him in some sort of a title picture pretty quickly. I could see it happening. Maybe not. I don't know. And speaking of the title picture, I'll get into that in a minute. But we get another Cody segment. He's just going on and on and on. Brings out Jay. They have a little bit of a segment there. Because Jay was going to end up fighting, was it Dom? He ended up fighting someone in the Bloodline. He ended up winning, but then getting jumped. But then that's when he runs out up the stairs, through the crowd, through the concourse. And that's where he runs into Sammy right outside the building. And then we get this long camera angle of Sammy then coming into the arena for the longest Raw entrance I've ever seen. But it was really, really cool because it was in front of his hometown crowd in Montreal for his title defense against Chad Gable, which was really, really good match. It looked like for a while that I genuinely thought that Sammy was going to end up losing the title, but he did not. And after the match, as he was celebrating, it looked like, Chad was kind of like, hey, congratulations, you won. He was showing that face side of him. And then, Sammy goes out to celebrate with his family, with his wife. I am not sure who else was there, who the other people were. But as Sammy is hugging his wife, Chad Gable quite literally suplexes Sammy out of his wife's arms and then continues to attack him and puts the meanest ankle lock on, tied up in the ring post. Looked like it hurt like hell. I'm sure it did. And we saw, a Gable heel turn. And those were kind of like your bigger points. Also on Raw, we did get the announcement of, the Raw tag team titles. Those are now gone in one hell of a segment with R-Truth and The Miz. As we all know, R-Truth is just one of the funniest guys on the roster. We need him around. I hope he stays around for a while. But anyway, so we get the new World Tag Team titles, which are just kind of emulated off of the World Heavyweight Championship. The only thing I didn't really like about it is the titles are like a perfect circle rather than like the shape of the almost crown-like shape of the world titles. But still came out really good. It's got the gold lettering, but the red behind it. So I'm assuming tomorrow on SmackDown, I'm recording this on Thursday, that we will get WWE Tag Team titles that look like the Undisputed title, and those will have some blue to it, and just to match SmackDown, I'm assuming. But yeah, so we got new Tag Team titles, we got the title defense, we got the Cody segment for the third time, we got Sheamus return, then Rhea news, and we got the Bayley title defense announcement, and then the Bloodline segment, and all in a week's worth of WWE. A lot of big breaking news, storylines continuing to develop, starting to develop, and we'll just kind of see where those go from here. A lot of interesting stuff. If I miss anything, let me know in the comments. I'm literally just kind of spitballing here, shooting from the hip, just going right into it, going right at it. Not sure what the plan is from here after this episode. Don't know if me and Max will be on in the next one or if it will just be me again. I don't know which day he comes back next week. But hopefully back so we can just record an episode like normal. But thank you guys so much for watching. Much shorter video today as it is just me. I'm not going to sit here and talk for an hour. Make sure you guys follow us on all our socials. We are also over on TikTok and Instagram. Been posting a bunch on TikTok lately. Got to get a little better at posting on Instagram. And then this episode, the audio won't be on Apple or Spotify because I don't know how to do that. This is just going right up on YouTube this week. Yeah, so Linktree should be on all our socials. Just click on that. Follow us everywhere. All the support would be much appreciated. If you got wrestling friends that don't know about us, share them with us. But on this video, make sure you hit that like. Again, comment if there's anything I missed that I should have talked about, what you guys took away from this week in WWE, and just hit that subscribe button. The more we can grow, the better, and either I or we will see you in the next one. Peace.